In the last video, we put some effort in our domain layer for user. We created a contract class which for now only contains the user methods, and we also have created user entity and understood some concept. And with this we created the separate use cases for each of the method in our repository. And now it's time to go for this data layer. But before putting our first step in the data layer, let's set up Firebase for our application because that's one of the important steps we need to cover. To set up Firebase project, you simply have to move to your browser, go to Firebase console and click this add project, and this window will appear in front of you. Simply put the name of your project, and after this done, click this continue, and in the second step, leave everything as it is and go for continue, and select the default account for Firebase Analytics and click this create project, and this will take a while and will create a Firebase project for you. So our Firebase project is created. Again, go for this continue. So we got our Firebase project with the name Instagram app clone. Now before creating any app in here, go to the setting of your project by clicking this settings and this project settings, and make sure to select your support email here in order to avoid some exceptions in the future. And with this, go back, and now we will create the Android application in our Firebase project, and then we will link it to our Flutter application. So you have to click on this Android, so this window will appear in front of you. Now it says put your Android package name. So from where you can take this Android package name, simply go to your Android studio and come a bit up here, and you will see this Android here. This will be just like this, like it will be collapsed. So you simply have to expand this and come to this app, and you will see the build Gradle. And notice we have two build Gradle files, one is inside the app and one is outside the app. The one which is inside the app is app level build Gradle, and the one which is outside the app is project level build Gradle. So you simply have to go to the build Gradle and copy this Android application ID and go to your browser and paste it right here. And you also can put the nickname for your application, which is optional. So I will put the name of my Instagram application, Instagram clone app, and leave this SHA fingerprint for now. It's also optional, and register your application. So in the second step, it will say download this Google Services JSON file which contains all of detail for our Android project which we have created in a while. So let's see what kind of details this Google Services.json hold. So download this and go to your downloads and cut this file from there. After cutting this Google Services JSON file from the downloads, simply move to your Android studio, and inside this app, right click on this and paste it right here. Okay, and we got this Google Services JSON file in our app. So now you can see here the project info, project number, and our Instagram application ID, client, and some more details, or client, API key, and some other services. So that's the detail of our Android application which we have created in our Firebase. And this Google Services JSON file needs to be added inside the app when we want to link our Firebase Android application to the Flutter application. So after this, we have to do some more configuration. Go to the browser, and after this, click this next, and you will see this project level build Gradle file. If you remember, I already have explained this. So you simply have to copy this class path from here, and we have to paste this inside our project level build Gradle. So in the Android studio, that's the app level build Gradle, and that's the project level. So we will move to the build Gradle of project level and paste this class path in these dependencies. And that was it. Again, go to your browser and come a bit down. You will see app level build Gradle here. You simply have to copy this com.google gms Google services, and again go to your Android studio, and this time you will go inside this app build Gradle and go a bit up here and paste it right here, and copy this apply plugin from here and replace it on this ID. So after this, go to your browser, and we are done with our configurations. So click this next and continue to the console. So we have created our Instagram app clone for Android. Go to the settings. That's our app for Android. And that was it for creating the Firebase project and linking it with Flutter. So the remaining step is to go to your Android Studio and go to your main.dart, and inside this main you have to do first make this void feature, and this will be async, and there will be widgets flutter binding dot initialized and Firebase dot initialize app, and also make sure to await this. So after this, stop the main.dart and again run your application. So after covering all of these steps of Firebase, if your app runs correctly, so it means your Firebase Android application is completely linked with Flutter and you can use the Cloud Firestore in your Android phone. And if it throws some exceptions, so it means you have missed something, so you have to rewatch this video in order to clear all these steps and you will good to go. So you can see my application runs correctly on my emulator, so it means the Firebase is set up correctly with my application. So now let's go for this data layer. So first thing in this data layer, you have to create the implementation for this Firebase repository which is located in the domain layer. So right click on this and create a new file which names will be Firebase repository IMPL, which means implementation, and hit the enter, and that's it. Now this Firebase repository implementation will also be a class Firebase repository IMPL, which will implement the Firebase repository and open body. And if you look at this repository, that's an abstract class which is not implemented yet, so we are implementing it here by calling this implements on this Firebase repository, which is an abstract class on that Firebase repository implementation. So you can see there is a compile time error. So if you are using Android Studio, press Alt Enter. So it says there are 9 missing overrides. So select this 9 missing overrides and press enter. So this will create all the methods which we have here not implemented yet, and here the methods also have the open body, which means they will be implemented here. But before going forward and implementing these methods, we have to cover one more step, which is to create the directory in the data sources, which will be remote data source, and inside this remote data source you have to create the Dart file which names will be remote data source, and go to the Firebase repository and press Alt A to select all, copy this and come to the remote data source and paste it here, and only change the name of this will be remote data source, or let's say Firebase remote data source. Sounds abstract, right? No worry, let me explain why I did this. If you look at the flow again, inside the domain layer, we have created the abstract class or the contract for our use cases of application. Now we know that we will implement this abstract class somewhere to fulfill this contract, but according to the architecture, the implementation of the repository is in the data layer, so we follow the solid last principle, which is dependency inversion. It says the boundaries between the layers should be handled with interfaces, which in our case the abstract classes. So we keep our domain layer fully independent by creating only abstract class here and its implementation in the data layer. Now to implement these methods in this repository implementation, obviously we will take some data from the data source, hence their name is data sources. So first here we will take the data from the remote data source, and then as we have implementation of this Firebase repository, the same will be for this remote data source. It's also the abstract class, so its implementation will be also inside this remote data source. So just like this, all these layers are connected to each other. You will see this control flow in action when these methods on some way called in presentation layer, then you will realize the beauty of this architecture. There may be still confusions about these layers, but everything will be clear to you once you get experience with this architecture. And how you will get this kind of experience, here is AD Developer. I am determined. I will explain everything to you about this architecture. So let's take again a quick recap of this flow again, so this will become more clear to you. First we have this repository, which is an abstract class, and its implementation in the data layer. And like this, our domain layer is independent because it is not depending on concrete implementations, but the interfaces or the abstract class. And this Firebase repository implementation will take the data from the remote data source to implement these methods. And just like this is the implementation of Firebase repository, there will be also the implementation for this Firebase remote data source. So let's also create the new file, which names will be remote data source impl. So we will come into this file later. First go to the repository and implement all of these methods. So first thing you have to do it in this Firebase repository implementation, we have to take the instance of data source, our Firebase remote data source. So we will do final Firebase remote data source, and this will be only remote data source, and create the constructor for it and make it required just like this. And to implement this method, you simply have to remove this body from here, and as this is future, so we will put async here and the arrow function in order to keep it clean. And this method will be called from remote data source dot create user, and this will take the user from here. So our create user method is just like this implemented, and just like this we have to do for all of them. Remove this body from here for this get current UID, and this is also future, so it will be async remote data source dot get current UID, put semicolon here, and again remove the body from here. And now remember, this is now not the future but this is stream, so you have to avoid put async with the stream. So we only have to put the arrow function remote data source dot get single user, just like this. Or obviously if you put async here, it will throw an error just because that's not the future, it's stream. So you don't have to put async with the stream. And the same will goes for this get user arrow function remote data source dot get users, and this is take the user from here. Just like this, it will be also for the sign in or is sign in, it will be async remote data source dot is sign in. And also for this sign in user, async remote data source dot sign in user. Also for the sign out, async remote data source sign out, and the remaining two will be also the same, async remote data source dot sign up user, and update user will also be async remote data source dot update user. So that was the implementation of our methods, which is in our Firebase repository, that is their implementation. And this Firebase repository implementation is taking the data from the Firebase remote data source, which is the same abstract class like Firebase repository, and this Firebase remote data source will be implemented inside this remote data source. If you have still confusions about these classes, that how they are connected and how they works with each other, let me tell you a psychological fact. Psychology says when you listen to something repetitively in order to clear your confusions, this creates new nerve pathways in your brain and your mind starts understanding more better than ever. So you don't need to worry about anything if you didn't understand something. So listen it again or rewatch that part where you have confusions. And with this, you need to practice these things to make them more clear, and this practice will make you perfect. So that was some motivation for you in order to keep you connected with the video and to fresh your mind to learn something new. So after this, inside this remote data source implementation, there will be a class which names will be remote data source, or not only remote data source but Firebase remote data source IMPL or implementation. This will implement the Firebase remote data source, and when you open the body, there will comes the compile time error. Again there will be the 9 missing overrides, so press enter. So this will again create the same methods which were in our Firebase repository implementation. And this remote data source is the place where all the concrete implementations of all the methods will take place. With this, before moving forward and start implementing these methods, we have to do one more thing to create the model for our user. So inside this model, you have to create a new directory which name will be user, and inside this there will goes our dart file. Its name will be user model, and that user model will be a class with the name of user model. This will extend user entity. Open body and go to the user entity and copy all of these fields from here, and we are not going to copy these 2 fields because that will not going to store in DB. Go to the user model and paste these all final fields right here, and press Alt Enter and create the constructor for them, and also put a comma here and press Ctrl Alt Shift L, and this will appear in front of you. Press enter to format this code, and also make sure to make them name parameters. And after this, you also have to pass them in the super class. Open this. So this will take first the UID. UID will be UID, and total following will be total following. Followers will be followers. So just like this, all of them will be the same. And after this, if you remember in the first part of this series, I said we will extend our user model with the entity, and with this there will be some functionalities like from snapshot in our case and to JSON. We don't do this in our user entity because we want to keep our domain layer completely independent from some other third party. So we will create all these functionalities inside this model rather than user entity. So here right after this super, there will goes a factory method user model dot from snapshot, and this will take document snapshot as snap open body, and there will be a variable of snapshot which will be equal to snap dot data as map string and dynamic. We are getting the document snapshot data and typecast it as map string dynamic, and this from snapshot will be used to convert the snapshots to Dart objects, and then this will allow us to read the data in our Cloud Firestore database. Because we cannot read the snapshots directly, so we will convert them into Dart objects to read them. And right after this, there is a compile time error because it says this will return the user model, so the compile time error will be gone. Inside this, the email will be snapshot and email, just like this. So all of this means the conversion from snapshot to Dart objects. Name will be snapshot name, and we are not going to write all of them one by one just like this. So to put comma here, and right after this, if you are using Android Studio, press Ctrl and D, duplicate them just like this and change their name. And I show you in the previous videos, to select the same name elements, you have to select the first and press Alt J to select also the other one. Now if I keep pressing the Alt J again and again, so this will select all of these name here. So I don't want this, I only want to change this name and name to some other data that will be, let's say, bio. And just like this, change all of them. Alt J to select the same elements and change it to only, let's say, username, and this will be total followers and total following. And let's say copy this UID from here, paste it here and also here, and website, press Ctrl D to replicate, and this profile URL. And we also gonna have the total post, but I think we forgot it in the previous video. Let's check the user entity. We got total followers, total following, but not the total post. So let's also create this. Press Ctrl D to replicate this total following and make it total post, and copy this from here. Also replicate this other UID and paste it right here in the constructor. Again replicate this and paste it right here. So this will our total post, and go to the user model, replicate total post, and also in the constructor, also in the super class, and put colon here, and right after this total following, replicate it, select them, and total posts, just like this. So in the last we will do replicate them, and we will do followers, as these followers are lists, so we will apply another way to convert them. This will be cut this and list dot from snap dot get and followers, and the same will be for the following, and copy this list from here, paste it right here. This will be list dot from following. So as these two are list in our user model, so we have to do it just like this. So our from snapshot method is successfully created, and now let's go for the toJSON method. Like when we want to create some data in our Cloud Firestore database, we have to convert our dot object to some raw data, so that will be stored in our Cloud Firestore database. So there will be map string dynamic, that's its type, its name will be to JSON, and this will simply return this object, and again this will take string as let's say UID to UID, put comma here, and replicate them just like this, and copy this email, paste it right here, and also the name, username, also for the total followers, total following, and also the total posts, and also this website, this photo URL, and replicate it once more, followers, and also the following. And there is still an error, put semicolon here, and the error will be gone. Or also you can take the code from the written tutorial and also from the GitHub. So these were our models which have some functionality of conversions like from snapshot and to JSON. And now we will go to our remote data source and start implementing these methods. But first let's go to the browser and open this build, go to the Firestore database and create that database. This will be in the test mode. Next, the location which is nearer to you, I am selecting the default location, enable this. It will says provisioning Cloud Firestore. So after some time this will create your Cloud Firestore database and you will see this collection here. So unlike any other relational database, we don't have the rows and columns, but that Firebase is no SQL database, so we have the collections, and inside this we are gonna have the documents and some fields. So let me show you how we can create manually data in our Cloud Firestore database. There will be the collection ID, let's say users. First we are gonna have the user, next, and let's say the auto generated ID, and user gonna have username. This will be the field name, value is let's say John Doe, and add another field, let's say, and his age is 12. Save. So this create a collection here, the document ID and some fields of user, username John Doe and age, just like this. So we are going to create all of this data by calling this create method. So first we have the users collection, so we have to take the reference to the user collection. To do this, first we have to take the instance of Firebase Firestore as Firebase Firestore, and also Firebase auth. Also create the constructor for them and make them required just like this, and we are going to use them right now. So this create user method is future, so we will make it async. First we are gonna have final user collection equal to Firebase Firestore dot collection users. As this is a clean architecture course, so we are not going to hard code any kind of string just like this, so we will create the const for them. So let's copy this string and go to this const and copy this page const and paste it right here. Remove all of these static const from here and change its name to Firebase consts, and change this edit profile page to users, because we are gonna have the users collection and also the posts collection, also the comment and also the reply. So these all will be the collections of our Firebase const, and we are not going to hard code them again and again in our implementation. So we will only use this Firebase const to access this string. And one more thing you have to add in your constant file, that will be the toast, like to show any toast on any error or something. And that toast, short toast, is coming from the package in the pubspec.yaml file, which is Flutter toast. So that was it. Go to the remote data source implementation, and inside this collection we will do Firebase const.user, and that's it. And after this, if you look at the browser, we have the user document, so we have to access to this document now from this collection. So after this, you have to do user collection dot document, the document inside the collection. Inside this doc, we have to pass the UID of the user and call the get method on this document to get this document. And then in the then method, like if we get the data, we will name this value to the user document if we have the user document. So we will do final user new user will be equal to user model, and all the data will be from user dot name and email, user dot email. Bio will be also from user dot bio. Following will be user dot following. Website will be user dot website, and all of this. So we have accessed all of the data from this user entity, like when user pass something, so that will be the data of the user, but we left one thing here, which is our UID. So that UID will be the UID. So to get this UID directly in here, we have to do final UID equal to await get current UID, which is not implemented yet. So I will show you how this get current UID will give us the current ID of the user. So first let's implement this create user, and I will show you how we will implement this get UID method. So after this user data, we will convert this to JSON, and here we will check the condition if not user doc dot exist. If the user doc was not exist, so we will do user collection dot document on the current UID dot set the data in the Cloud Firestore database, and that new data will be of the new user which user has entered in the fields of sign up page. And in the else condition, we will do if the user was already exist and this method calls, or this else cannot be true, like this create user will be called when we sign up our user, so this else condition will not be executed. But for safety, we have to do user collection dot document on that particular UID, we will update this new user, and that's it. On that method we also can do that catch error, and this is a high order function. Error, on error this will return that tossed some error occurred and put semicolon here. So first we are accessing to the user collection just like this user collection and the current UID of the user, which will be implemented in a while, and this user collection .doc, and on that current UID we will get this user, and then after this, when this process complete, we have created the new user, which is a variable. Like this will be the data of the user, and then we are checking the condition. If the user doc was not exist, so set it, and if it was already exist, just update it, and if there was some error, so show toast some error occur. And right after this there is the method of get current UID. So now let's implement it to show you how we got this current UID of the user here. You have to do as this future method async arrow function, and here we will do Firebase auth.currentUser.uid, put semicolon here, and also put assertion operator here. So this get current UID will get the current user UID just like this. So we are accessing it here. So we have implemented our two methods, and right after this there is a method of get single user. Now how we will get the user? We have to access to the users and in the documents snapshot and then read them. So we have to do again the final user collection equal to Firebase firestore dot collection of Firebase const dot user, and then we will return the user collection dot snapshots dot, we will map these snapshots and which give us the query snapshot map string dynamics. So we will make this query snapshot, and from this query snapshot we will do dot documents, which give us the list of query document snapshot, and again we will map them, and here we will call our from snap method to convert these query snapshots dot objects, then we will read them. So here we will do user model dot from snapshot, and inside this parentheses we will pass this e here, and after this we will make it to list to convert them to list at last. So the error will be gone. And as this is the get single user method, so we also have to do something here, like on that user we will call the where query, where the UID field inside the user is equal to that particular UID which is in the parentheses of the get single user, and also the limit will be 1 because that's single user. So that was the method of our get single user. It will be the same for getting all the users. Copy this from here and paste it right here. Only remove this where query from here because we are not going to get only single user, but that will be all the users in the user collection. So this will get all the users just like this. And now there is the method of isSign_in to check if the user is signed in or not, and this returns the future boolean, like that will be true or false. To check this method we will do async Firebase authentication or auth.currentUser.uid is not equal to null, and instead of assertion operator make it null just like this. Like this will check if this user ID is not equal to null. And now there are some remaining methods, the 4 remaining methods, and this sign out methods is really short, so let's also implement this. This will be remove this to do from here, this will await, and this will also be async before await, and Firebase auth.sign out. So we simply have to call only this sign out to sign out the user. And now for this sign in user, we have to do, let's put some try catch here, try catch error, just like this. And inside this try there will be, first let's make it asynchronous because that's future, so the error will be gone. And inside this try we will do if the user dot email dot is not empty, like if the user has entered his email and it's not empty, or that field is not empty, or user dot password is not empty, so we will await Firebase auth dot sign in with email and password, and that email and password will be from user dot email and password will be user dot password. Also make them just like this, put comma here and also the semicolon here. That's it. We call the method from this Firebase auth sign in user with email and password, and that email and password is coming from the user entity. And in the else condition we will show a toast which will say fields cannot be empty, or let's say this will for now only print. We will control these fields cannot be empty from our UI, but it's also essential to check it here also. So after this, in this catch method we will do on Firebase auth exception. We are handling the Firebase authentication exceptions on this sign in user. We will do if the e.code was equal to user not found, so we will show a toast here, user not found. And in the else if, when the e.code error code was equal to wrong password, so we will say toast and the message will be invalid email or password. And that was it for our sign in user. And now let's go for this sign up user. So first we have to make it async and also try catch e and open body. First in the try block we will do await Firebase authentication dot create user with email and password, and that email and password will be come from user dot email, and this password will come from user dot password, and also put the assertion operator here because that are nullable fields. And when this process completes, so we will do dot then, like when the user is signed up and his email and password is created in the authentication, so we will do if the value dot user dot uid was not equal to null, so we will await create user, which will take the user entity, so that user entity will be just like this. There is an error in the await, so we also have to make this async, so the error will be gone. So when the user is signed up to the application and his email and password is created in the authentication tab, so after this process completes, we will also create our user in our Cloud First database with the particular data he has entered in the fields signing up to the application. Otherwise, in the try block we will only return nothing, and in this catch block we will do on Firebase auth exception if e.code error code was equal to email already in use, so if the entered email is already in use, so we will show the toast message that will be the entered, or let's say email is already taken. In the else condition we will return something went wrong. So that was it for our sign up user. Like first we are creating our user with email and password, so he will be created in the authentication tab, and What is that authentication tab? I am saying it again and again. Go to this browser and open this build. This is our authentication tab, and you have to also get started here in the authentication tab. And there are some sign-in methods, and we are signing our user with email and password, so we have to enable this method, which is email and password. Enable it and save it. So here in the user, when the user is created, when this method is called, so here the user will create it, and after this we are calling this create user, so he will also be created in our Firestore database, which will be in the collection, his ID and all of his fields inside this document. So that was it for our sign up user, and the last method remaining is update user. So in this update method we will do async, because that's also a future method. The first thing we are gonna have is in here. You may be familiar with this. When we want to update our user in here, obviously first we need to access to the user collection, document and then fields. So you have to move to Android Studio, and here we are gonna have final user collection equal to Firebase Firestore dot collection Firebase const.user, and here we are gonna have one more thing, a variable of type map string dynamic equal to a simple, we have initialize map here. So that will be the user information. If you look at in the Firebase Firestore, we have the data in our document in the key and value pairs. So when we want to update the value of a field, we need to have an variable of user information, then we will use this to update the data. So here we will do, like if you want to update our username, if the username user.username was equal to empty string and user.username was equal to null. So if this condition has matched, so we will do user information, which is map. So we will access this username from here, and this will become equal to user.username, which will be entered by the user. Like we are checking if the username was not equal to this and or null, like there is some data it's not null, or there is some data. So we will access this particular field and will become equal to user.username, which is entered by the user. And after this we will do user collection dot document on the user.uid, the UID in the user document. On that particular ID we will update that user update, and this update will take this user information just like this. So when this update method is called, and when we were updating our username, so it will first check this condition. If this condition has been satisfied, so it will update the user, which the user will enter in the field when he is updating his username or something. Or when we call this method on some other field like website, so this will throw error, because we also have to do this kind of work with the website and all of the fields to update that fields also. So this is only for this username. So I will replicate this by Ctrl D sometimes and put some space between them just like this, and this will not going to be the username. The second, this will be, let's say I want to update the website. So if the website was not equal to empty string or null, so we will update the website on the website user has added. And the same will be for profile URL when user want to update the profile. So this will be the same, and user also can update his bio and also the only name just like this. And this can also be for, let's paste it 3 more times, total followers, and this total followers is nums. So we cannot check this condition if it was empty string, because that's num, it cannot be empty string. So we will remove this condition from here, and we will say user dot total following if it was equal to null, or this condition will not be equal to, but this will be not equal to. Like if it was not equal to null, so we will change it. Sorry about that, I put this equal to, so this condition for all will be not equal to. So if it was not equal to null, so we will update them. Select this double equal to and press Alt J to select all of this double equal to, just like this, and remove them and change them to not equal to. So this scenario will be just like this. This will not be only equal to, because when you put the equal to, so the condition will not be correct and its behavior will become unexpected. So you have to do this not equal to condition in here to update the data of the user. Like we are checking if the user that name is not equal to empty string or null, so we will update that field on the name which user has entered in the field. So that's it. Now here for the total following, we are saying user.total following is not equal to null, so we will update this total following on the total following. And the same will be for total followers, and remove this from here, or let's copy this, paste it here. This will be total followers, and followers, and this will be just like this. And the last one is total posts, so it will also be just like this. If it was not equal to null, update it. So for all of the fields you have to do it just like this to update them. So, and we are not going to update them all at once, but when we change only the username, so only that condition will be satisfied, and then in the user document this will set the username which user has entered in the field. So that was it for our update method also. Or also you can take the code from the written tutorial and also from the GitHub. So let's take a quick recap what we have done in here. In the previous video we created the Firebase repository and the user entity and also the use cases in here, and then in this video we implement this Firebase repository, and this Firebase repository implementation is getting the data from this remote data source, and this remote data source is implemented in here. And we also have created models for some conversion of methods, and we also learn how we can do all of this stuff like create user, update user, get current UID, get only single user, get all the users, and his sign in user, sign out user, sign up, and all of these. So in the next video we will go for this Cubit to create the Cubit for our users and credentials. So be ready for this video. We have writes lots of logic, so if you didn't understand something in here, so rewatch this video so everything will be cleared. So I hope this video was helpful. If so, show some love in the comment section and also let me know if something is not clear to you. And with this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified whenever the next video is uploaded. For now, goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.